So this part is after the cooler. So I did the cooler video and the cooler's on it now. So now I'm going to do the rest of this airgun cart video. Go ahead and check it out. Hope you like it. Okay, back on my airgun cart. A little bit of rehash about where we're at. The pump's been assembled, which is basically the thermometer, the tubing, the oil breather, and that's pretty much it. These things are pretty easy to assemble. The oil that I want to use is Royal Purple. There's a quart of that. The coolant that I'm going to use in the cooler and running through the pump is water wetter. It's a water additive. So I'm going to use distilled water and this water wetter. You read through here, one bottle is good for 3 to 5 gallons. I've got 4 gallons of distilled water I'm going to dump this in. One mistake that I made was it also comes pre-mixed. So I got this initially and I'm looking on the back of here trying to figure out, the ratio to add it to the water, but that's pre-mixed. So once I get my 4 gallons, I'm just gonna add that in there to get rid of it. Let's see, the other change I mentioned and showed you before was this small pump was changed out to a larger pump. The bag of goodies and stuff, you get 6 of those little cotton filters that go here. That goes, it's either in there or was installed in there. But then the pump is hooked up to this filter. This filter's got the most interesting stand to it. I've never seen anybody's videos online where they're like, oh yeah, this is how you hook one of these up. They all are hobnobbed together in some way, shape, or form. And that's the way I did it as well. I took a tape measure around and went to the garage and finally found what equates to a 3x2, which is a 111 stud in this particular case. And I cut it an inch bigger on each side than this, just because I'm not sure that I won't need it for mounting later on if my mounting idea doesn't work. But it's got these down here also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can't somehow get this down on here to my eyeball centered. But that, I don't know if you can see that, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go get a 1/2 inch drill and I'm going to drill that out a little bit. And after I do that, I am going to run a couple of screws through the back of that to mount that to this board. Let's see, one other thing. So on this cart project, I don't want anything sticking out wider than the cart. I want this 2 feet wide. I want it to be able to go through doors. But one of the things that I wanted to do is time the runs. So I did put these little pieces on here so I can magnetically put, this came with magnets, but they were junk. So anyway, I was messing around, had magnets, and but when I start the pump to fill a bottle, I want to know how long it's been running, and that'll be my timer. The other thing that I want to do on this pump is this is a vibration hour meter. So as this pump is, or as the air pump's running, the vibration will time. It will let me know for maintenance purposes how long this pump's been running. So I'm going to mount that about right there. Doesn't interfere with the handle, and when I need to know for maintenance purposes how long that pump's been going, that works. So I've got a timer to let me know how long the cycle is, but also I've got a timer to let me know there. So anyway, I'm going to go drill my holes and see if I can get this stuff mounted, and I'll be back. Okay, got this wood drilled and got the filter mounted. It worked out pretty good. The front, I left a little area so I can put a little rag or something down just in case it spits a little bit. But the wire will, the air hose goes there. On the bottom of here where I wanted to place it, this seemed like a perfect spot to put it, but there was a couple of screws on the bottom, so where I had to drill a recess for the screws on the filter, I also had to just drill a couple of recess holes to fit over the cart screws. The next stage of this, and really the final stage, other than, you know, as I said, I'm going to put a little silicone in that hole. But the next stage of this compressor project is a fan. So that is a little oscillating fan, and it's just high enough to catch that cylinder on the air pump. But I mounted this filter assembly down with alien tape. Where is that stuff? Alien tape. I wasn't sure it was going to work because, you know, it's a pretty hefty filter, but that stuff worked. That filter is going nowhere. I think I'm going to use the same thing on this fan. I think when you twist it, it comes off, but as far as just, I mean, this thing's down there. So I'm also going to put the fan down with alien tape, but just back far enough that, you know, I have, I can see the flow gauge, I can see the water temperature, not that that's going to tell me a heck of a lot. And then up here is the timer. Down here, I've got the vibration timer. Here's the temperature from the Yong Heng. The other thing that I did to the cart is I put a little light up there. That's a magnetic so if I do need to see it, but that's a pretty nice addition. So anyway, there's nothing hanging over the edge of the cart. You know, when it goes traveling, it'll be good to go, but that's my cart thus far. And pretty much the bottom of the cart. So I'm getting ready to dump the water wetter in there and get the little ice figured out, how I'm going to do the ice. The next thing I'm going to do is on the cart itself, I'm going to mount that. But there's not really a decent spot for it, so I'm going to have to cut. All right, bye. So the next stage in getting this compressor some power was I did a little cable management. I had some cable stuff, those plastic pieces that you run cables through, and I painted them gray just so they'd match, but it made the thing a lot neater. I'm pretty happy with that. Then I took a grinder and cut away this had a rib there in the middle, and I cut that rib out to where it would fit that power strip. That power strip was super interesting. It had the mounting holes on the back of it were super small, and I didn't have anything sturdy enough to screw into the plastic cart and yet still hold this nicely. So you can see here where I tried a couple of different versions. I had to get on a grinder and tried to grind that head down to where it would fit in the hole, but then the thickness, well, you can't see that very good, but it was too thick. I tried a different way with this, and I eventually just used that alien tape that I used with the filter, but I stuck that alien tape on there, and this thing is going nowhere. It's on there. So anyway, the power, I went ahead and labeled it just in case I needed to keep stuff plugged in or unplugged, but that's it so far. All right, I made a couple of changes to this Yong Heng that I wanted to talk with you about real quick. The thermometer doesn't come with batteries in it, nor does the instructions tell you what they are. Wound up being the equivalent of a 357 that I had on hand, so that's what I used. The vibration hour meter has a lock function that you can put on, that if you're just carrying it or rolling it or moving it, that it won't register the vibration. Made sure that was off. As far as power, I made a simple little change there. I labeled the compressor to make sure that I plugged that into the wall, and the power strip as well. Several people online discuss that, and the instructions also say not to plug it into the power strips. So those are the changes. So here is that air gun cart. I've done a couple of things to it since we've last chatted. Here's the top. So those are the 2 tanks that I'll be filling. This is a check valve from airtanksplus.com. I think these are the same people that make the Stickman, but basically it screws into this fitting on the air tank, and it's a check valve. So when I'm filling the tank, if anything does happen to go wrong, that will be there for safety. These little slots will come in handy. These are just some of the instructions that I may need, in a charging cord for the light. Here's the heat gun. Temperature is this thing's enemy, so I've done what I can, I think, with the cooler, making sure that the water's got flow. Everything seems to be going okay with this. So the water flow meter works perfect. The fan is going to kick out a nice volume of air there. I did get silicone into that hole. Everything seems to be okay thus far. All right, this is the current and hopefully final iteration of this cart. I'll put this range box on it to hold the gun. This regulator, super nice. Gives you the bottle pressure as well as being able to set the output pressure. I'm pleased with how that works. I do have the 2 bottles. Tools fit in there nicely. This quick bleed check valve is nice. I recommend those highly. It worked really well for me. Let's see, I went with the 2 dedicated cords. I did wind up putting that temperature sensor where it goes. So anyway, this is the cart. I have also got the gun rack. I've got some guns, whether maybe you should consider hats and refurb guns, target, and check some other stuff out. So that was the airgun cart. It turned out relatively well, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I've got some other videos of the gun rack. I've got the target, some general video on the guns. Maybe sometime in the future I'll actually talk about some of those guns. So anyway, this was the second part. The cooler was the first part. Hope you enjoyed them. Peace out.